Welcome to another edition of Succeed with ADHD Anyway. This is Brian King. I'm an adult with Asperger's. I used to say mild, but my wife reminded me there's nothing mild about it. I also have ADHD, dyslexia, and Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I'm also the very proud father of 3 boys, all of whom have Asperger's and ADHD. And I'm here to teach you how you can have your challenges and succeed anyway. Let's begin first with a salute to our sponsor, who really helps us make these wonderful videos for you. It's Microshare International. Microshare specializes in marketing, bringing technology together with your business strategy and vision. They also happen to be the company I work with for my marketing, and they're absolutely amazing people to work with. You can find them online at microshareintl.com. You'll also find a link on my website, succeedwithadhdanyway.com. So let's dive in. The number one question I ask my clients to help them build their self-awareness is something I simply call the role model question. Let's start by defining what it means to be a role model, so we're both on the same page. My definition of a role model is someone who, through his or her actions, demonstrates how to do something effectively. Now, this can be as broad as how to succeed in a career like sales, a task like a free throw in basketball, or as specific as a single character trait such as honesty. So here's the role model question that I ask. If the people of the world were watching you live your life as an example of how to live theirs, what would they learn from your example? Think about that for a second. Now, you can answer this question with the words that you would say, the choices you would make, and the actions you would take in order to model this life to them. Now, the point isn't to judge the answers that you give to these questions. The point is to reflect upon them, to determine if what you're modeling currently is the person you truly are and truly want to be. So many people are shocked by the degree to which they deceive themselves. The degree to which they model things like how to pretend you're happy when you're not. Ever do that one? How to lie convincingly, or how to be an emotional doormat for someone else. Someone I know just came to this realization about themselves recently. We know many people who model hypocrisy, but do we acknowledge the times when we model it? And the list goes on in terms of the possible answers you can give to this question. I make a habit of asking myself the role model question frequently to do a self-awareness check, to make sure I didn't fall back into some old habits. At any given time, I may have modeled compassion, patience, tenacity, resilience, and loyalty. While other times, I've modeled self-criticism, how to take things personally, how to worry, and even how to have a meltdown. Overall, though, based on my own reflection and the feedback I get from others, the traits I consistently model are imperfection, vulnerability, and perseverance. In other words, I model what it's like to be human. I model exactly who I am, warts and all. So some people ask, why do you leave yourself so open? Why do you leave yourself so vulnerable? Well, have I learned to do this from others? Others that are comfortable being vulnerable? Well, not quite. We live in a world where our leaders won't share their vulnerability, where they blame others for what isn't working and pretend to be larger than life and fault-proof. Those closest to us and those who employ us may practice a do as I say, not as I do philosophy. And for the record, I make a point of excluding these people from my life, and it has made a big difference. I learned to be more and more myself over time as I went through the process of healing some deep emotional pain. I talk about this in great detail in one of my books. You'll love this title, What to Do When You're Totally Screwed. It's all about overcoming that feeling of helplessness. So where do we find these role models, the ones that we want and need in our world, so that we can avoid the hypocrites and model the people that are more human like we want to be? Well, the question to answer first is this: what do you want to learn? Do you want to learn how to shoot a free throw? Or do you want to learn patience? Would you like to surround yourself with those who feel they're better than everyone else? Or with those committed to being of service to others? Once you decide what you want to do or be, you can begin looking for the person who not only exemplifies that trait or that skill, but also get the results you are looking to create in your own life. So, what do you want? Well, what if you don't know what you want? Let me tell you how I help my clients with ADHD or ASD, which means autism spectrum difference. Let me tell you how I help them figure it out. First, let me say that I routinely encounter clients who present with a whole host of contradictions. They say one thing and do another. They say they'll do something, then they don't. They say they want to accomplish something and do everything they can to sabotage it. I imagine you know people like this. I imagine you might even be a people like this. Even worse is when I bring it into their awareness, they deny all of these tendencies, no matter how much evidence I give them. So what do I do then? I ask the role model question. I once asked it to a particular client who we'll call Tom, not his real name, who was prolific at procrastinating and making excuses for himself. When reflecting upon the question, he admitted to his procrastination, laziness, and his avoidance. My next question to him was, as a role model, Tom, your job is to demonstrate to the person looking up to you that your lifestyle is the way to go because of the results you get. So how do you model that, Tom? Well, he was frankly unable to defend his lifestyle and the choices he was making, let alone wanting anyone to follow his lead. That opened the door to discussing whether how he chose to live his life helped him accomplish his goals in any way, shape, or form. What he determined was that the life he lived was more in service of meeting the needs of the moment instead of working towards anything long-term. So I asked him what traits he wanted to model instead of the ones he currently practiced. At first he was unsure. I asked him what problems he would need to solve in order to get his needs met. Needs as simple as food, shelter, clothing. Those require certain skill sets in order to get those needs met. Some things he needed to learn. We determined that he needed skills such as organization and proactivity, so he could learn to plan and cook a meal, so he could eventually do a job, earn some money for himself. His shelter was provided for him because he still lived with his parents, but he could begin by learning to participate in its upkeep, so he showed some gratitude and some responsibility for the place he was living, instead of taking it for granted. A character trait such as cooperativeness comes into play in asking how he can help around the house. Organization is needed again in planning his day to include the tasks he wishes to complete, whether it be in the house, whether it be applying for a job, and so on. The order to complete them, the time he wishes to complete them, because you and I both know timelines, deadlines, can add some more motivation to us and enhance our ability to be proactive. Self-discipline is examined and developed as he determines how well he follows through. Did he keep the promises he made? Did he stick to his schedule? The better he can get at that, the more self-disciplined he is. This is a process that requires a degree of skill to help someone through, of course. The important point is what the role model question helps you see in yourself. What you create in your life begins with what you want, with your intention, what you envision yourself creating. But it only becomes reality as a result of the choices you make and the actions you take. When you aren't getting the results in life you want, when you're ready to examine your role in creating the results, taking full responsibility, then we can have a conversation about what to do next. Once you've determined what traits or skills you want to learn, then you can ask yourself, who do I know who I can learn this from? If you don't know the person now, they're not currently in your life, ask around until you find that person. Tell the people you know that you're looking for a person like this. Then, when you do find the person, watch, listen, learn, and duplicate what they're doing. It's easier said than done, I know. But this is the formula that I use. I highly recommend it, and I found great success with it. So let's finish with this. I'll give you a few more questions to begin taking the next steps for yourself. Are you ready? Ask yourself these questions. Who do I model? What about them do I model? Why do I model that? Of all the things I could copy that they're doing, why that? What results do I get when I model these things? What does this say about my personal values? Is what I choose to model what I want to have modeled back to me? If not, what action am I prepared to take to address it? I hope this particular episode has been helpful for you. Please don't forget to share it with anybody you know that would find it helpful too. Don't forget to visit my website at succeedwithadhdanyway.com and please leave a review. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know what else I can do for you. Also, feel free to stop by iTunes and leave a review, because it helps other people find us. And please leave a review on YouTube as well. And most importantly, be sure to join us next time for another episode of Succeed with ADHD Anyway. This is Brian King saying, thanks for being you.